I'm going to show you how to transform this raw photo into a detailed illustrative piece of art using Luminar Neo. And make sure you stick around to the end because I'll show you the important last step that helps us to recover some of that contrast that sometimes gets lost in these type of edits. Right, let's get into it. You can see in these 3 photos here, I have the traditional bracketed set of exposures that we'd normally be sending into an HDR tool. However, in this shot, which is the frame that I actually prefer, I don't actually have a bracketed set. However, that is not going to stop me using the HDR Merge tool in Luminar Neo to try and recover some of that detail. So I'll just drag that in. I'm not going to do anything else other than click the Merge button right here. And now that's sent over with a lot of additional processing. Look at all that lovely detail that's brought out. And this is the version of the photo that we're going to be editing. But before we move on, what I'm going to do is open up our original photo as a layer on top. And that's brought in with an opacity of 50%. So currently we see half of this HDR version and half of this unedited raw version. For now, what I'm going to do is just hide that layer. And we're just going to work on the bottom layer. So I'm going to make sure that that is selected. And already you can see that we have so much more detail in this version. But let's push it even further. Let's jump into Structure AI, which is a fabulous tool for bringing out, well, structure, of course. And look at all that extra detail that's been added in as well. But here's the thing. We want to do this with a little bit more finesse than what we have here. I don't just want to apply this globally across the whole frame. I want to be more specific with it. And that is where we move from the adjustment and into the masking section. So although I've brutishly taken that all the way to 100, I'm going to just apply this specifically where I want it and build it up. So I'm going to work with a nice big brush and I'm going to keep my strength very low, around 20%. And we always want to have a nice softness to our brush. That's going to allow me to paint over an area and just gently reintroduce that structure that we just set up. So already if I toggle the before and after, you can see that I'm just getting a little bit of a pop into the sky. I really like that element of the cloud through there. I want to bring more attention to the hut itself and maybe just a little bit through the trees as well, maybe a bit over the grass. So here's our before and our after. So far, so good. Now I'm going to move on to controlling the light. There's several ways we could do that. One of my favorite ways these days is with Luminar Neo's light depth tool, which allows us to just put the amount up and then we can move that light through the scene and illuminate front to back. So if we wanted to brighten up the shack and then just soften off the blend between the brighter and the darker areas, we could absolutely do that. For this one, I'm going to show you a different method. I might just leave a little bit of that in because it's quite nice before and after. But let me show you a more refined way, and that is with our dodge and burn tool. So we find that in our professional section down here, but don't let the word professional scare you. It's quite easy to use. So all we're going to do here with this tool is just darken and lighten certain areas. And a good rule of thumb is we're going to darken down areas where we don't want the viewer's attention. So currently you can see that the grass is quite bright, probably a similar brightness to the hut. And so what I'm going to do here is just start to paint over the grass and just darken that down. Now, there's one issue that I really don't like with this particular tool is that as we're darkening this down, we're actually increasing the saturation of the color. Normally, that would be enough for me to steer clear of this tool and use a different method for dodging and burning. However, because we're going to work with a bit of color grading at the end, I'm not actually too worried about the shift in saturation. And I'm just going to darken down some of the areas around the edge of the frame. It's almost like I'm creating my own vignette here, just to keep the attention more towards the central part. Our eye tends to look at brighter parts of the photo, and so that is why you want to kind of emphasize the things where you want people to look. You can just brighten those up with this tool, and areas where you don't want people to focus as much, that's where you darken down. So here's our before and our after with this tool. Already it's really starting to sculpt that light and bring attention to the hut. I'm just going to go back to the lighten mode, and I just want to brighten this area in the cloud just up here where we have this bit of interest through there, something like that. Here's our before and our after, before and after. A really great tool for controlling contrast is the dramatic tool. Now, straight out of the box, if I crank this all the way to 100, this is not going to look good before and after. Oh, no, no, no. But that's not how we're going to have it. We're actually going to work with this local contrast slider, and I'm going to pull this all the way to the left. Straight away, that looks a lot more natural than where it was. So bring that down to the left. The brightness slider, because I want this to be a dark, moody shot, I'm not going to have that at the default of 30. I'm either going to bring it down to 0, so it's not even affecting the brightness, or I could even leverage that slider and actually add a bit more darkness and moodiness to this shot. So let's do that. And I don't want to lose my color, so I'm actually just going to bring that saturation up a little bit. Look at the before and after. Of course, this is probably too much at the moment. Well, not probably, it definitely is. So let's just bring that amount slider down, and we can just toggle left and right, just keeping our eye on the shot and deciding where do we want to leave that. And somewhere around there, 22 looks pretty good to me, before and after. Incidentally, if you're new to Luminar Neo and do like the look of it, I've got a discount link in the description below, along with a coupon code that you can apply so you can grab it and get editing like this. From here, I really want people to focus in on the hut. And so what I'm going to do is actually add a vignette. So if I grab the amount slider and pull that down, you can see exactly what a vignette does. It darkens the edge of the frame. But one of the things that I really love with Luminar is we can just click anywhere in our photo to determine this is the area that we want the subject focus to be on. And so in this case, let's keep that on the hut. If I bring the size down, we'll get a tighter focus down here, but I don't want to darken too much of the frame. Let's leave that around there. We can play with the roundness, so we get a more rectangular look. Or in this case, if we go more of a circular look, and if I take away the feather, you'll see that that is a clear circle. This is more appealing to me because I want to leave some of this brightness in the sky and the hut. So this is generally the look that I'm going for. And now I can increase that feather, potentially brighten up the center of the vignette if I wanted to. But as we're going for a dark, moody look, something like this is fine. But of course, we are far too dark at the moment. So now we've got it set up the way we want. That is when I'd come back to this amount slider and just start to ease that in until a point where I'm pretty happy with it. So not too heavy, something like that. Let's look before and after. Yep, just a subtle darkening of the edge of the frame. Now, while I'm quite happy with the graphical nature and very illustrative look in this shot, if you feel that things have just got away on you just a little bit here, what you can actually do is soften off this aggressive structured look by adding either the mystical or glow filter. For this one, I'm going to go for the glow filter. We're currently on soft focus, but I believe Autumn Effect should look pretty good for this. I'm going to go heavy-handed again so you can see exactly what this is doing. So here's our before and our after. You can see everything's got a kind of softened glow. I don't want to brighten this up, so I'm going to bring that brightness down. And if we bring the contrast out, we're not going to be pushing those dark pixels all the way to pure black. And so I'm going to bring that contrast down so that we're keeping detail in those shadows. Don't panic. This is not where I'm going to be leaving this. We can do a little bit of color grading in here if we want to. So we could warm this up, cool it down. We've got that option as well, but I'm going to keep my coloration separate to this tool and just leave that at neutral. Let's see. Here was where we were at. Very crunchy, very structured. And that might be what we're after. But if it is a bit too much, what you can do is apply a little bit of a filter like this, just to soften it off ever so slightly. So I'm going to go something like that for this one, maybe not even that much. I want a really nice, almost illustrated look to this. And before we get to that final step that I alluded to before, what I'm going to do is do a bit of color grading on this. I don't like the look of the green in the trees here. It's just a little bit too much. I want to harmonize this color palette and try and send some of these greens more towards the yellow and orange hues that we already have in the hut here. And so to do that, I just come into the HSL, hue, saturation and luminance. So I'm going to come to the greens here, which you can see I can take them more towards a cyan and more nuclear looking, or we can take it to the other direction towards the yellows, which tie in with more harmony to the rest of the photo. And to be honest, that might be all I need to do. We could work with the yellows and push those over that direction as well, but not really necessary for this one. From here, I'm going to jump into an overall color grade of the whole photo. Several ways we can do that, but one of my favorites is to work with the mood tool. Come in and just choose a lookup table. So something like the wooden lookup table. If I push that all the way to 100, you can see the lovely, beautiful toning. This gives it more contrast, more unified color palette, and a really nice artistic quality as well. Just like many of the tools, what I like to do is push the amount to 100, even if that's not where it's going to finish, because that allows me to clearly see what the movement of the other sliders does. So again, I don't want to go too heavy-handed with contrast because we lose all of the detail in the very dark shadows there. So I'm actually going to take that the other way. And if I do want to keep some of the saturation from the underlying photo, I could bring that in. But to be honest, I quite like this wooden look as it is. Here's our before and after with that application. And now I can kind of toggle between the before and after with the slider and decide just how much of that effect I want to have in. You know, just a 50-50 split might be quite nice, before and after. And now for this final step, I am going to show the layer on top, which is our original unprocessed raw photo. And you can see if we compare between the two, just how much of an illustrative look we've given that compared to the original photo. And now you compare the two, you might be like, well, I do like this, but it's too much. And usually you'd be coming into the different tools within the correct layer, of course, and maybe coming in and reducing the overall amount of each of those tools. But, you know, that's quite cumbersome. But really, I'm happy with the overall recipe that I've applied. It's just globally, it may be too much. The HDR tool kind of flattens out the tones in the image, obviously, because it's trying to recover highlights, recover shadows, and that pushes everything back towards a kind of mid-tone. You know, this was the original HDR edit. And if we compare that to the unprocessed photo, you can see there's a huge discrepancy between the brightness in the sky and the darkness of the foliage here. So what we can actually do with this as a layer on top is we can use this to dull back the effect of this version that we created underneath. So let me show you how we do that. It's very simple. We're just going to show that layer again. We're going to come over to the tools menu where we can see the layer properties, and that gives us access to the opacity slider. So here we go. This is the edited version that we created. Now we see the full version of the unedited photo. And what we can do is use this opacity slider to create a hybrid version between the two. So from our fully processed version, if I start to increase the opacity of the unprocessed photo on top, this one, we can start to just fade the effect back. Something like that, you know, just tickle in a little bit of the original and we get a more subtle, refined version. So here's our original raw unprocessed photo. And here's our illustrated artistic interpretation. If you'd like to see a video about how to turn a photo into a painting, then you want to check out that video right there where I use layers, textures, and other techniques to create a more painterly look to your photos. Hope you enjoyed this one, guys. Do let me know what you thought in the comments, and I hope to see you in that video right there. Bye-bye for now.